Howdy y'all, this is Daniel Nicholson with Nicholson Farms, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'd like to invite you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you can keep up with what we got going on here at the farm. Today we're going to talk a little bit about goat nutrition as far as my kids go. They're all about 2 months old now, and we've been starting them out on a creek feeder, and they're doing really well with that. We're going to talk about that some, and we're going to look how they're growing. What I think about their growth so far. I'm gonna get these mamas fed real quick so that they'll be quiet so we can talk about the feed that I'm using and a couple other things. So I hope you enjoy the video and y'all stick with us. So those of y'all that's been with the channel know that we have a creek feeder that I'm feeding my young baby goats out of. They've been using it fantastically. They're going through probably about 3/4 pound of feed a day per head. And for those of you that saw the video, all my creek feeder is here. Let me get to the front. Is a pallet with a hole right there cut out where just the baby goats can get in there. And on the inside I have a automatic dog food feeder. I can put about 30 pounds worth of feed in there at a time, and it'll take them about a day, about 2 days to go through that. So I know they're getting about 3/4 to 1 pound a day per head. And whenever I first started out, I was feeding them what I feed my mamas, just because the babies had already been munching on that. That's a 14% crude protein feed. About 2 weeks ago, I bumped it up to a 16% once I knew all those baby goats were going in there and they're eating their fill, and I just didn't want to bump the protein up automatically on that full choice feed. Basically, they can go in there any hour of the day to get it. I didn't want them to have that high protein. So they've been on the 16% for about 2 weeks now, and today we're actually going to switch it out to a 18% beef goat pellet. It's the same ingredients throughout the feed. It's just the only difference is the crude protein. And so right now my moms are getting about a pound of feed per head per day. We're about to start cutting that back as we wean these babies off. Like I said, they're about 2 months old. And so it's about time to start weaning them. We'll start weaning them here in about another month at 3 months old. And at that point, I'll just keep feeding the babies, and I'll stop feeding the moms. I was giving the moms a little bit more. Sorry, I'm trying to dodge the wind. I was giving the moms a little bit more feed when those babies were really nursing on them heavily. But since they have kind of slacked off the nursing and gone more to this self feeder, I'm starting to cut back the ration for these nannies. I don't want to feed my goats all year long. Typically I just feed them 2 months before they have babies, while they have babies on them, and then a couple weeks before I try to breed them. But that's for another discussion. I think we're going to go ahead and put this feed in this creek feeder, and then we'll look at some of these baby goats and see how they're growing. got the new feed into the self feeder. We'll kind of walk through here and kind of talk about some of these nannies. I mean, some of these babies, if Rivers doesn't chase them all off first. We'll just kind of go through the whole herd and look at them and tell you what I think about how they're growing. To start off with, this little nanny right here, she's one of the ones that we had to treat with staph infection on her nose. She's doing really well. Her mom, she's going to her mom over there. That's her twin sister with the red head coming around. But I think they're kind of stunted a little bit, but this is kind of a smaller frame nanny. So I think they're really growing well, considering what they had to go through with that mom only going down to one teat essentially. If you look at her bag, only one teat's usable right now. Usable, I don't know if that's a word. In use right now. The other one dried up. This little Billy right here, we call him tiny, but the camera doesn't quite do him justice, but he is massive. If all my little goats, all my babies grew like that one did, I might can make some good money off of goats. But he looks good. I mean, look at him. That's a full-grown nanny he's standing beside. And he's almost as tall as her. Not quite the length, but that'll come with time. He's going to be a big boy. Moving on. This is one of the little Billies that we took to the house to save, where his temperature was so low. That's his twin brother over there. They're growing about average, especially considering what they went through. I'm pretty happy with their progress. Here's three good-looking nanny girls out here. The brown-headed one is kind of in the front right here. She was actually the last one to be born, and she's bigger than a lot of these babies. That black-headed one right there, she's half Kiko, half boar, and she is by far the tallest and lengthiest baby we have. This is a little Savannah nanny. She's growing well as well. There's a couple in here that's kind of a little smaller. Let me see if I can find them. This is one. This is his twin sister, and this is the other one. If I can run them out right here. They're a little bit smaller than the rest, but also their mom is majority of a milk breed goat. That's her right there. So I really wasn't expecting them to put the meat on like these other Savannah and boar babies. Here's another little nanny that's growing pretty well. For the most part, everybody's doing good. This is that new baby that was born last week here at the farm. He's a friendly little guy. I don't know if he'll come up to me because I've got Rivers in here. Rivers likes to play with him. Come here, Oscar. I've been calling him Oscar. Move. Move, Rivers. Sit. Sit. Stay. Come here, Oscar. Sit down. Come here. He's more worried about milk right now. But for the most part, everybody's doing really well. I'm happy with the growth this year. These babies have really taken to that self-feeder, or that creek feeder, whatever you want to call it. They've really taken to it well. And like I said, I put 16% crude protein in there last week, and it has really done well for them. I'm hoping this 18% does the same. We'll be moving these babies off of their mamas here in about another 3 weeks. We'll talk about my weaning process and how I do that, and we'll just make another video of that whole process, and so y'all have to stick with us and see how we wean the babies. Got everybody fed and watered this afternoon. If you haven't ever seen it before, this is how I move water around. I just have a tank that I put on the back of the truck and haul up to my goat pasture where I don't have access to a water hose. So we got them watered. Everybody's fed up. We talked a good bit about the creek feeder and how these baby goats are growing. Like I said, I think they're growing really well. This is the first year that I've kind of switched up the protein throughout having the creek feeder up, and I think it's really benefiting me well. We got us a new work truck here at Nicholson Farms. My granddad passed away several months ago. My grandma was kind enough to give my dad his old 1992 Dodge Dakota four-wheel drive truck, and we've been using it around here on the farm, so you'll be seeing a lot of it coming up. it's nice to have it here. It's nice to be able to drive it again. Whenever I was growing up, this is what we took coon hunting every night. I was down visiting my grandparents. But I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about creek feeders or the protein mixes that I use, or even the feed label that I use, I can definitely get you that information and try to help you out. But I really appreciate y'all watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and we'll see y'all on the next one.